In the early 1980s, a couple bought a house for next to nothing, not knowing that beneath the old wooden floors, a dark secret had been hidden for decades. It was supposed to be their dream home, a quaint, affordable property in a quiet suburban neighborhood. Little did they know, this house had a story of its own, one that would unfold in the most unexpected way. When they began renovating the basement, they stumbled upon something buried under the floorboards, something that no one could have predicted. The discovery sent shockwaves through the community and eventually across the internet, leaving everyone wondering, how could this have been kept hidden for so long? The couple's life was about to change forever. Hit like, subscribe and let's go. Tom and Linda Harrison had always dreamed of owning a cozy home where they could enjoy their quiet retirement years. In 1982, they finally found it, a charming fixer-upper in a sleepy town just outside of Asheville, North Carolina. The house sat at the end of a narrow, tree-lined street, surrounded by whispering oaks and the gentle hum of crickets at night. Every morning, Tom would sip his coffee on the creaky front porch while Linda tended to her small garden, laughing whenever the neighborhood cats came to visit. Life settled into a peaceful rhythm, simple, predictable, comforting. But in the evenings, when the sun dipped low and the shadows stretched long, an odd chill would sometimes creep up from the basement door. Linda dismissed it as just the draft of an old house, yet, deep down, something didn't feel quite right. One rainy afternoon, as Tom was patching a leak near the basement stairs, he noticed something strange, a faint hollow sound beneath his boots. Curious, he tapped the floor again. Hollow. The boards, worn and faded, seemed solid at a glance, but something underneath was different. Linda, hearing the odd thumping from upstairs, hurried down, her brow furrowed with concern. Together, they knelt on the cold, damp floor, pressing their palms against the wood. A strange draft seemed to seep up through the cracks, carrying a scent unlike anything they had smelled before, old, metallic, almost electric. Tom glanced at Linda, a flicker of unease in his eyes. They decided to leave it for now, convincing themselves it was just the house settling after the rain. But that night, neither of them slept soundly, their dreams filled with the echo of that hollow knock. And somehow, deep down, they both knew this was only the beginning. Over the next few days, the strange feeling in the house only grew stronger. Late at night, Tom would hear faint, rhythmic tapping from the basement, soft at first, then louder, almost impatient. Linda noticed it too, pretending not to, clutching her blanket tighter whenever the sound stirred her awake. One morning, while cleaning near the basement door, she spotted something she hadn't seen before, a thin crack running along the floorboards, almost like the outline of a hidden trapdoor. Dust settled around it unnaturally, forming odd patterns, as if disturbed from below. The air in the house felt heavier now, thick with unspoken tension. Windows fogged up from the inside even on dry days, and the ticking of the old grandfather clock seemed to drag slower, as if the house itself was holding its breath. Tom tried to shrug it off, blaming old wiring, bad plumbing, anything but what his gut screamed to admit, something was waiting under their feet. One stormy evening, as thunder rumbled low across the hills, Tom finally decided he couldn't ignore the basement any longer. Armed with a flashlight and a crowbar, he pried at the thin crack Linda had found. To his shock, the floor gave way far too easily, revealing a hidden hatch covered in thick layers of dust and rusted metal. Beneath it, a narrow stairway, spiraling down into darkness. Linda stood frozen at the top of the stairs, clutching an old, yellowed envelope she had just found tucked inside the basement wall. On it, a single word was scrawled in shaky handwriting, "Beware." Tom's pulse raced as he shined the light into the black void below. Cold air rushed up to meet him, carrying with it a strange smell of damp stone and something far older. For a moment, neither of them moved. Then, gripping each other's hands tightly, they stepped into the unknown. Nothing in their quiet, ordinary lives had prepared them for what lay ahead. The narrow stairs creaked and groaned under their weight as Tom and Linda descended, each step swallowing them deeper into the cold, stale darkness. At the bottom, their flashlight beam revealed a small underground room, its stone walls slick with moisture. In the center of the floor lay a heavy, iron-bound chest, half buried in the dirt. Tom hesitated, but something pulled him closer. With trembling hands, he forced the lid open. Inside, bundled in rotting cloth, were dozens of faded documents, old photographs, and a series of worn leather journals. As Linda sifted through them, her face paled. These weren't just relics, they were records of something far more sinister, hidden accounts of missing persons from the 1940s, notes about secret meetings, coded maps. The realization hit them like a wave: this house, their sanctuary, had once been a silent witness to unspeakable acts. Fear gripped them, cold and merciless, as the walls seemed to close in, whispering secrets too dark to stay buried. As Tom and Linda stood frozen in the hidden room, a sudden noise shattered the heavy silence, a sharp, deliberate creak from above, as if someone else had entered the house. Tom instinctively killed the flashlight, plunging them into darkness. Their hearts pounded so loud it seemed the intruder could hear them breathing. Slowly, cautiously, they climbed back up the narrow stairs, each creak a betrayal in the silence. Reaching the hatch, they peeked out. The basement door at the top of the stairs now stood ajar, swaying slightly as if pushed by an unseen hand. Shadows danced against the walls, and a faint, rhythmic tapping began once again, but this time it came from inside the house. Clutching the envelope marked, "Beware," Tom realized they had two choices: flee and leave the mystery buried forever, or stay and face whatever had been awakened. Their home was no longer theirs. And time was running out. A violent crash echoed through the house as a window shattered somewhere upstairs, scattering glass like frozen rain. Tom and Linda, paralyzed with fear, huddled near the basement stairs, clutching the tattered envelope and the old journals. Footsteps, slow, deliberate, creaked across the floorboards above them, growing louder, heavier. Linda's voice trembled in a whisper, urging Tom to run, but there was nowhere left to hide. Every door, every exit now seemed impossibly far away. Just as the shadowy figure loomed at the top of the basement stairs, a sudden gust of wind slammed the front door wide open, shaking the whole house and sending the figure retreating into the night. In that fleeting moment, Tom noticed something glinting in the wreckage, a rusted, forgotten key buried among the fallen journals. It was small, almost insignificant, yet somehow it pulsed with promise. They weren't defeated yet. Somewhere, somehow, there was still a way out. Gripping the rusted key with trembling fingers, Tom felt a surge of determination break through the fear. He and Linda scrambled back to the hidden stairway, the cold air whipping around them like unseen hands urging them forward. Near the base of the stairs, they spotted a narrow iron door, almost invisible against the stone wall, a door they hadn't noticed before. Heart pounding, Tom slid the key into the lock. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with a heavy click, the door groaned open to reveal a narrow tunnel leading out into the woods beyond their property. Without hesitation, they plunged into the passage, guided only by the faint promise of freedom. As they stumbled into the fresh night air, the oppressive weight of the house lifted from their shoulders. Behind them, the old home seemed to sigh, the broken windows staring blankly into the dark. They were safe, battered, shaken, but alive. And now, they knew, some secrets are meant to be unearthed, so they can finally be put to rest. Weeks later, Tom and Linda sat quietly on a bench overlooking the woods, the old house barely visible through the misty trees. They had sold the property to the town's historical society, who promised to investigate the hidden past properly. Life felt different now, quieter, more fragile, yet somehow more vivid. They carried invisible scars, but also a deep, unshakable bond forged by the night they chose to face their fears together. Sometimes, on restless nights, They wondered what would have happened if they had ignored the signs, if they had stayed. And maybe, just maybe, the house still whispered to those who dared to listen. What would you have done? Would you have opened that door? Let us know in the comments, share your thoughts, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more true stories that will chill you to the bone. Until next time, stay curious, stay brave.